How's it going, folks? This is Wayne all back for another technique lesson today, and this is part one in a new series I'm doing on scales. Okay, I think scales are an important part of learning and development. You know, a lot of riffs come from scales, guitar solos, and I think if anything else, they're just sort of great exercises, you know, to get that sort of separation in your fingers. So I'm going to go through the three main scales that everybody should know. We're going to start looking at different positions within those scales, exercises that we can do. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so the first scale that we're going to learn is the minor pentatonic scale. I think if you never learn another scale, this one is sort of essential, you know. And it's a fairly straightforward, easy scale as well. So I'm going to show you the three main scales that everybody should know. That is the minor pentatonic, the blues scale, and the major scale. And we're also going to talk about the different positions, because each one of those scales actually has 5 positions. So we're going to, you know, go over a little bit of groundwork with that and things that we can do with scales. But like I say, it's a great way, if you've never done a scale before, of, you know, getting that separation in your fingers, getting, you know, because a lot of people never seem to use the little finger very much, which is your weakest finger when you start off on guitar. So it's a good way of, you know, building the strength up, you know, on your little finger as well. So we're going to do all these scales in the key of an A. So you're going to want your first finger on the 5th fret on the bottom E string, okay? And I'll just play you the scale first, and then I'll obviously talk you through it. So okay, so the first finger is going to play the 5th fret on the E string, okay, and the little finger, and it's important that you try and use the right fingers doing this. The little finger will be playing the 8th fret on the E string. Then we go down to the A string, so first finger is going to play the 5th, third finger will play the 7th this time. We're going to do the same on the next string down, which is the D string. So first finger on the 5th, third finger on the 7th, same on the G, so first finger on the 5th, third finger on the 7th, and when we get to the B string, first finger's on the 5th, our little finger is now going to be playing the 8th fret, like we did on the bottom E string, and we're going to do exactly the same on the top E string, okay? So this is what we've got, nice and slow, so okay, so when you've got that down, a good thing to do with that is go down in reverse, you know, so we do that backwards, you know, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. Okay. So that's a great thing to practice. A useful thing to know within that scale is where the other root notes are as well, because it's going to sort of, you know, make a bit more sense when we start doing things with these scales, and maybe, you know, if you start making little licks up or even playing guitar solos, it's good to know where the root notes lie within the scale. So obviously the obvious one is our starting point, that is the 5th fret on the E string. The next one is going to be on the 7th fret on the D string. So that's like an octave. We always say, if you get, you know, go take a root note, go 2 strings down, 2 frets along, and we've got, so that's a root note as well. And our other root note will be the 5th fret on the top E string. So it's good to memorize those and, you know, realize where those root notes are. So a good exercise when everybody's got that down. Obviously this is aimed at beginners, so I know it might take you, you know, a little while to get that down. But even if you're, you know, a seasoned player and you haven't sort of touched scales for a while, a good thing to do is to practice that scale with alternative picking. And what I mean by that, you play the first note with a downstroke, second note with an upstroke, etc. So downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, etc. Okay, and just keep running up and down that scale. Okay, and another good thing that you could do with that scale, which is something we're going to get into a little bit later in the series, you know, some exercises that you could do. But a good thing will be to try and play that scale along to a metronome. You know, just set it at maybe 60 BPM, something like that. And to start off with, just try and play the notes so every note sort of, you know, falls on the bleep. You could do that with the standard way of playing that with downstrokes and also with alternative picking. So there we go. That's our first scale, an A minor pentatonic. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. That was useful to a lot of people. Like I say, it is aimed at beginners, and I know YouTube is saturated with these lessons on scales and everything. But this is just my take on it, and I'm going to do a little series sort of aimed at a lot of people that have subscribed to my channel. Thanks very much, by the way, and thanks for your continued support. And it's just going to be a little course, just going over some basic scales, like I've said, and you know, things that you can do with scales. The way, you know, if anything, they're just great for exercise and getting that separation in your fingers, as I've said before. And if you don't do anything else with a scale, that's, you know, that's going to be very, very beneficial to you. So until next time, I'll see you on part 2 for the blue scale. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you soon.